Hi, everyone. I'm the Dynamite Doll, and this is episode number 7 of Dirt with a Doll. This is going to be a very special episode, something a little different than what I've already done. As you can see, I'm dressed up, and this is going to be a tribute show for my father. December 5th, 2025 marks 7 years my father has been gone, but also his 67th birthday. That's right. He passed away on his 60th birthday 7 years ago. So in a way, it makes it easier. I only have the one day a year that I have to be upset for those special anniversaries. It's often hard for birthdays and death anniversaries, but for me, I find it kind of comforting. I only have to go through it once a year, and then of course Father's Day. But 7 years ago, I was pregnant with my second daughter. I was only about 3 months pregnant. And, I woke up and got the call that my father had passed away. So, unfortunately, I was actually just a little bit under 3 months that I wasn't able to fly to England for my dad's funeral service. I thought it was too risky. I mean, it was so early in my pregnancy. Of course, it was so much money to get there and to go by myself and have the stress of that. Being pregnant, I didn't want to put my body through that. So it was really hard and difficult choosing to stay home and miss out on the funeral service. But I was lucky enough that my cousin Craig, who was in England, he was able to Skype me the service. And although everything was blurry and I couldn't really see much, the feeling was still there that I was there in service with my mom and my sister and my brother. We all watched it. It was like 3 in the morning here in our time in Canada. But I wanted to make this a special day. Last year was the 6 year anniversary, and I was a mess that day. Some people say, like, oh, time heals everything, and, it'll get better eventually. But I found last year, I was like, this is the worst. This is the worst I felt so far. I was very, very sad. I remember like falling to my knees, just crying in my closet last year. And I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but like, I miss my fucking dad. So, it's almost as if it does get harder because more years that go on, it's more years you're not seeing them. So that's the hard part. It's like it's been another year that I haven't seen you. But now that I have this platform and this podcast, I wanted to do something really special and put on a really cool tribute episode. And so that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be a 2-part series. So this is part 1, and it's just going to be me talking. And I'm going to put together like a montage video of some people that I've reached out to for some tribute messages. So I've reached out to some wrestlers. I've reached out to friends and fans around the world who I have connected with through social media and the connection of professional wrestling, British Bulldogs, or my dad, the Dynamite Kid. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. And I just want to say that everything I'm doing is for my dad. When my dad passed away, I right away took over the Instagram page that originally a friend, he was kind of my dad's manager in England. He was running the page. But I was like, my dad's passed away, and I would really like to take control of the page because this is my way of like connecting with him and staying in touch with him and just remembering him. And it really helps me feel closer to him when I see these memories and I connect with the fans. And so I took over the Instagram about 7 years ago, and everything I'm doing is in the name of keeping his legacy alive. So, I got back into managing, doing a lot of local shows, and it became my mission to just keep his name alive, travel the world as much as I can, go to conventions, go to different parts of Canada, which I've done, spread awareness of that. Hey, this legacy is still alive. It's still thriving. Hey, remember my dad going to the States, going to different places in the world. I'd love to. Well, I've been to England. Well, not for a while now. I was last there 10 years ago, but I will be going in February for the Love of Wrestling convention. So, and of course, there are things that are in the works, like the movie. So we're going to be going to Manchester, England for the Love of Wrestling convention, which is their huge convention. Since my dad has passed away, I've tried to get on this convention every single year. Finally, next year, 2026, I'm going to be attending with the movie producers and director from the UK, and my mother will be joining us as well. So I'll be there promoting the movie. So big things are happening. 2025, we're wrapping it up. It's my dad's 7-year anniversary. There's something about the number 7 that I've always liked. I do think it's a popular number. A lot of people like the number 7, but I remember my dad left around, I think I was 6 heading into 7 years old, but for some reason in my mind, I remember the year, it was grade 2, I was 7 years old. It was such a good year to me in elementary. I loved my teacher. I remember, like, I loved my school picture that year. I remember, I don't crushing on boys who kind of gave me attention because my Uncle Brett, came to the school, for my Christmas concert and stuff like that. So I just remember feeling really good about myself at the age 7, and I would wear my mom's bright pink lipstick to school, and my teacher, I'd wear my mom's big clip-on earrings, big gaudy, they were like spiky, colorful balls. I don't even know how to describe them. 90s, early 90s. Um, and my teacher would compliment my lipstick and compliment my earrings, and so I felt really good about myself in grade 2, 7 years old. So something about the number 7 I really like. So, and then 26 is my lucky number. My birthday is May 26th. My mom's birthday is October 26th, and my little brother and sister, they're April 26th. So heading into the new year, it's 2026. It's my dad's 7th year being gone, 67 years old he would have been. And I just feel really good and positive about what is happening, what's going to happen this year, everything that we're working on. I have started the petition for to get my dad into the WWE Hall of Fame, and I just started that a week ago. We're at 500, so that feels really promising. If we could do 500 every week, hopefully we'll get the numbers we need. Gosh, I don't know. Maybe it'll move faster than that. 2026 would be ideal. Maybe it won't happen 2026, but at least all these other things are happening that will lead to the WWE Hall of Fame. My dad deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He, there he is behind me. Let's see. Yeah. With Matilda, that was from WWE. He paved the way for tag team wrestling, him and Davey. They should be in there twice. Davey's already in there. They should be in there singles, and they should be in there as a tag team. They paved the way for tag team wrestling, them and the Heart Foundation. And my dad had such a huge influence on wrestling today. Like, you still see his style wrestling in everything that everyone is doing today. So he was the first one to really mix these different styles of wrestling, and with that fast speed and agility and intention, everything he did had intention and power, and he was just so passionate, and you didn't see anything like that. It was so captivating. You couldn't take your eyes off him. Him and Tiger Mask had an incredible match at Madison Square Garden. That was incredible. Everything he did with Tiger Mask was, he revolutionized the business. He was an innovator, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, you see him today, his style is all over everywhere. Local wrestling on TV. In Japan, he's still worshipped. Like, they absolutely loved him over there. And I can't wait to see everything that we're working so hard for. I want to see my dad rightfully where he belongs, which is in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I will be up there accepting that award, with my mom, my siblings, whoever wants to come. But I absolutely would be honored to do that for my father. Everything I'm doing is for him. People don't remember as much of the positive as they should. I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's unfair to say. I have a lot of positive feedback from all my dad's fans online. I've been really fortunate that his fans actually do remember and recognize that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. A lot of the comments I get on all my pages and everything I'm doing are positive, and your dad deserves to be there. And so I'm speaking for the people too. Without the fans, there would be no Dynamite Kids. So thank you guys for following and voting and sharing, and your love and your loyalty all these years. We couldn't do it without you. Now, me as his daughter, it's my part to push forward and try to get him into the WWE Hall of Fame. And, I can't wait for this movie to come out. We're working closely with the movie producers and director to ensure that everything is done correctly. You know, not everything is rainbow and sunshines, especially in professional wrestling, but there is a beauty in telling the truth, and there is a beauty in overcoming obstacles and forgiveness. Forgiveness is a huge part, has been a huge part of my journey. Yeah, my dad wasn't perfect, but I mean, as a father, he was wonderful to me. All the signs that, when a daddy's girl. I'm certainly always a daddy's girl. I really was. I was the firstborn, and the way he pampered me and just waited on me hand and foot, like, you'd see pictures of us. All the pictures, if you look back, he's always holding my little dainty hand. Like, he's this big muscular man holding my little hand, and that's how much he cared about me and loved me and adored me. And things like, if you're on my dad's good side, he and I'm not talking about a daughter, because of course I'm on his good side, but as friends, he would be so loyal to his friends and, train them and not like make them pay, because that's who my dad was. He when he got into professional wrestling, he's like, "Well, no one ever charged me to train, so I'm not going to charge my friends." And that's just how he is. So he would give you the t-shirt off his back if he had to, because that's how giving he was for someone that he cared about. And that loyalty of friendship, my dad was very humble. He was a very loyal man to his friends, and I think a very small circle of people know. People like Bad News Allen, Harley Race. Those are just some of his very close friends that would know these stories and this side of him. Some of the Hart family members too would see that side of him. Absolutely. So I just want people to remember that there's a beauty in the truth. So this movie, it's gonna be, yeah, it's a movie. There's gonna be some theatrics. It's not gonna be a perfect, like, oh, da, la, 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 love story, and I'm a wrestler, and then I have kids, and I moved to Canada. Like, no, there's struggles and there's triumphs, and there's, a family struggling as well with everything we went through, but we come out on top and we keep pushing and we forgive, and we just learn, try to be better and learn to share it with the world, how to maybe, things like CTE, so dealing with people with brain injuries. Like, that's a really important mission for my mom and I, is being able to talk to families who are dealing with these types of things. And the truth of it is, you may start seeing different sides of them, and that's not really the person you knew, but it's not their fault because it's a brain injury. So this is a lot of the stuff, unfortunately, that the families went through back in the day with wrestling, when things were a lot different and their schedules were a lot more grueling. And especially with, the style of wrestling my father went through or did, his style of wrestling. It was hard hitting. He didn't want to leave anything to the imagination. He wanted it to look real, and hitting a lot of the concrete floors and stuff like that. So that was my dad's style, and we can't change that. We can't take it away from it, but I mean we can't take that back. But what we can do is learn for the future and do better, and hopefully people learn from his mistakes. And I mean, the companies themselves too, hopefully they're protecting their wrestlers. Hopefully they're learning. That's all we can hope, is that someone will learn from our story and fix not repeat those mistakes. So, and me, forgiving my dad, that, I have a beautiful story of forgiveness and reconciling. And I've had people reach out to me and say, I watched your Dark Side of the Ring episode, and you really inspired me, and I see how you forgave your dad, and then he didn't live much longer, but you never had to live in regret. And that was my big thing, is I never wanted to live in regret. I wanted to know that I reached out to him and I buried the hatchet and I forgave him, and I didn't have to live with that burden on my chest anymore. So that was a huge thing for me. And the fact that people have reached out to me and have said that I've inspired them, and that's all I could ask for. So We are really excited to show you guys everything, the good, the bad, the truth, the yes, it's a movie, guys. It's not gonna be 100% because you have to dramatize things for television, so please remember that, and we're okay with that, we know that, so just remember that when you're watching it, but we can't wait to share the whole journey with you. I cannot wait to hear all these messages that wrestlers, wrestling fans, friends, family around the world are gonna submit for this, and I just really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you following my podcast. I appreciate you sharing the petition, signing the petition. Dad, I love you. I miss you. And everything I do is for you. Oh my gosh, I feel like he's looking down on me right now with this painting behind me. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Breathe. I hope that what I'm doing gets you to where you deserve to be. And I hope that you are proud of me. And I just hope that you're with me every step of the way because if everything I do, if we don't quite make it to where we want it to be, it's okay. I have to try. As his daughter, I have to try. I'm here. I have a life. I'm breathing. You know, all I can do is try because he deserves it. I miss you, Dad. I love you. And I can't wait for you to look down and look at this video and remember how much of a difference you made in professional wrestling, how much of a difference your style has made and is still current and relevant. I don't think you knew that before you were gone, but now that you're up there and you're looking down, I hope that you really, really see. I should have brought a drink to cheers. Happy birthday to my dad, 67th birthday. And 7 years ago, we lost a tremendous man, but we are here. The difference you've made in my life as a father and in wrestling. You are a fan favorite. You are a bloody legend. And I can't wait for more people to find out about you through this video by sharing this, by watching these messages. And because, some people are still learning. The internet today is a wild thing, and you're still gaining new young fans. So, everyone, please share hashtag the Dynamite Kid for Hall of Fame. Happy birthday. 7 years gone, too soon, but always with me, and legends never die. And I will help keep your legacy alive. Thank you. I want to thank everyone right now who submitted messages for me. I can't thank you enough. As I received these one by one, it was a really amazing journey to open them up. I was so excited, honored. They made me cry. And I just can't wait to watch the whole video montage. I want to thank X Brand Wrestling for helping me put this together, for helping me with my podcast, and for giving me this space to be able to do this for my dad's birthday. I'm not going to be sad this year. Friday on your actual birthday. Sorry, I'm filming this ahead of time, of course. We are going to go for fish and chips with the family and go to a British pub, do the fish and chips for what we call Tommy Day with a nice pint of beer in honor of you. And let's keep the momentum going. 2025, you can peace on out because 2026 is our year. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be dynamite. And I cannot wait for the finish line to get you to where you need to be, Dad. I am your little girl forever. Your lamb. He called me lamb. Your Tweety bird with my big eyes. I love you endlessly. And I just wish I could hug you. But that day will have to wait. Until then, I will do everything in my power to make sure that I'm making you proud. I'm keeping the Billington name alive. My last name is never going to change. It's always Billington. I couldn't take it away because it means so much to me. I am so proud to be a Billington. I love you. I'm honored to be your daughter, and let's do the damn thing. You need to send me that dynamite energy down if you haven't already. I need more because I'm gonna push and push and push to get you into the Hall of Fame. Happy birthday. I love you. And thank you for the life that you've given me because everything I am is because of you. Thank you, everyone.
I was asked to speak about how the Dynamite Kid influenced my own in-ring style and my own in-ring career. And I'd have to start at probably Bret Hart is the wrestler I've studied the most and someone that I, meticulously watch a lot of his matches, especially watching them back over and over and really just try to study them. But Bret gives a lot of his credit, his formative years and, really the foundation to his time spent both in the ring with Dynamite Kid and outside kind of picking his brain. And, if you were a pro wrestler that started in Calgary after 1978, you were compared to, or you had to live up to the legend of the Dynamite Kid. This is somebody that Stu would glowingly speak about until the very end. The way that Ross Hart kind of explained it to me is that business wasn't really doing too great before Dynamite came into town. It had been good, and now it had kind of hit a lull, and it was on a bit of a downswing. And within 2 or 3 weeks, Dynamite had turned the business around in Stampede Wrestling, and people had to come see this new phenom. And those matches with Tiger Mask that are over. They're over 40 years old, those matches, and they still stand the test of time. There's still matches that I watch to this day and can find stuff that is, what's old is new again. You can find so much different stuff in these matches that really stand the test of time. And I think Dynamite, his in-ring snap and his the execution with that intent that he had on every single thing that he did in the ring. It all was very almost hyper focused on not only convincing the people, but maybe convincing his opponent that this was on the level. And Dynamite is somebody that all of us in Calgary, I remember speaking with Jim, and he would talk about, he'd be in matches and he just would think to himself, what would Dynamite do? And Jim Neidhart would talk all the time, they're nowhere near the same kind of physical statures or anything. And even Jim, a former NFL player, is idolizing Dynamite and trying to emulate what he thinks Dynamite would do if he were in Jim's body. And it's just, all the way, even to now, if you come from Calgary, there's kind of a bit of a stigma, and you better live up to it, or at least somewhat. And a lot of it comes from Dynamite, and he is really the path he blazed, because it wasn't there prior to him. He's the one who laid this down, especially for Calgary people, Calgary wrestlers. Calgary wrestler, you go to Japan, you go to Europe, and you go to WWE is kind of the stages that it works in, and those are the stages that Dynamite, Owen, Davey, Brett, Jim, these are the stages these guys kind of set the path for us. But really, and it starts with Dynamite, and like I said, the path he blazed that path, he burned it down, and he made it very easy for all of us to follow, easy and hard to imitate the way he did things, but easy in the sense of, this is how it's supposed to be done and this is how it's supposed to look. So, if you're from Calgary, you probably, even if you don't know it, even if it's in 2025, you have some Dynamite Kid influence, even if you haven't realized it yet. You'll figure it out. He's somebody that definitely influenced a certain style, and we talk about it a lot, even to this day, but we call it the Calgary style. And a lot of it was developed under Dynamite Kid. So he's definitely someone who's influenced a lot of our in-ring style and a lot of the stuff you even maybe still currently see. It has a touch of Dynamite to it. So we owe him a lot.
This is Masha Slamovich, and I am wishing the happiest heavenly birthday to my favorite wrestler, the Dynamite Kid. His work and his aura and his style and innovation are completely influential, and they have influenced more wrestlers than can even be said, myself included. I have taken so much inspiration from the Dynamite Kid throughout his wrestling, throughout reading his books and following his life. Just want to wish the happiest of birthdays and say that the Dynamite Kid will never be forgotten. And if there was no Dynamite Kid, there would never be a Russian Dynamite.
Hi Bronwyn, thank you for asking me to share a few words about your dad, Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid. It's hard to believe it's another year since we lost him, and I hope you find comfort today celebrating his life and his birthday. To me, Dynamite Kid meant fearless, cutting edge and innovative wrestling. His athleticism, his intensity, and the way he moved in the ring were truly revolutionary. He proved that size didn't matter, it was the heart and skill you brought to the performance. He just wasn't a great wrestler, he was a pioneer who changed the standard of what a professional wrestler should be. Every high-flying, fast-paced athlete that came after him owes a debt to your dad. The Dynamite Kid helped set the stage for the modern era of wrestling we enjoy today. Sending all my best to you and your family.
Hey, what's up, Bron? Sorry that it took so long to find time to record this for you, but I finally found a place to sit down and have a little bit of peace and quiet, so here it is. Anyway, your pops. So when you had asked, a little while back, and I believe I was in Japan at the time, maybe Mexico. I feel like I was in Japan because it seemed like very fitting that you asked me to do this when I was in Japan, and your pops has such a reputation in Japan. But to speak on your dad, who is a big influence on me, and many, obviously, goes without saying. And so I had to do it, and I had to jump at the chance. First, pertaining to your dad, and for those that don't know, they should know, the Dynamite Kid. He's obviously, goes without saying, such a big influence on so many people in the industry. And for me, it kind of touches so many different bases. For me personally, the dream for me started and was always to wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that was a place that really sort of launched your dad's career, and he left such an imprint in their history that became an imprint in wrestling history. And he was a major part of that. When I first got to wrestling camp, my closest wrestling brother was a guy by the name of Ricky Reyes, and his biggest influence was Dynamite Kid. And he would talk about Dynamite Kid all the time. And I knew Dynamite Kid because my favorite wrestler growing up was Tiger Mask, and Tiger Mask wouldn't be Tiger Mask without the Dynamite Kid. Your dad's book was the first wrestling book that I ever read, which is, to this day, is probably still one of my favorites. And as luck would have it, eventually I found my way into New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was my first ever wrestling job. So I was, goes without saying, I was very excited to, work for your dad's old boss and in the ring that your dad used to perform in. And not long after I debuted in New Japan Pro Wrestling, they asked if I would take on the moniker of Cobra 2, which, for people that don't know that much about Calgary wrestling history, Cobra, the original Cobra, was part of that generation of, Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask, Davey Boy Smith, and then there was Cobra and Black Tiger, who was Mark Rocco. And that they were, significant characters for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so many of them share, obviously, a lineage from the Calgary territory. So with, the fact that I got to wrestle for your dad's company, his where he kind of made his name, and my hero was your dad's greatest opponent, and my first ever New Japan opponent was the original Tiger Mask's student, Tiger Mask 4. So that's another, as luck would have it, sort of thing. And, you know, what really struck me about your dad was that he had this aura about him where, you know, he came from like the kind of golden age of British wrestling and, you know, that world of sport crew that so many of them are famous, but he did everything so differently. You know, everybody had this way of doing it, much like there's a sort of signature accent of every region, and he didn't fit into that box for UK wrestling. He did it his own way, and I think that there's something so very like rock and roll about, you know, the Dynamite Kid that made him different. Not rock and roll in the sense of like a big star, but like rock and roll in the sense of like rebellion and really kind of doing things your own way. Sometimes to your detriment, but like really doing it your own way and not compromising. And I always looked up to Dynamite Kid for that, because it didn't matter if you know, he went into a situation and came out of it, you know, maybe worse than when he went into it. He never would regret his decisions, and you know, he really always fought for what he wanted and what he believed in, and so that's something to this day I still admire and look up to. You know, which is funny because I'm so different from your dad in that way, that I'm in a way that you know, he's so aggressive and very kind of alpha in a way, and I'm not. I'm very like laid back and calculated and relaxed and quiet and calm. But that's something that I've always really admired from your dad, and it kind of helped me come out of my shell when I was not just starting out necessarily, but when I was still a young wrestler trying to find my way and getting, you know, to that early midway point, and being not afraid to sort of take risks and make gambles and stand up for myself in certain ways. And that's something that, as different of a wrestler as I was from your dad in so many ways, as a human, I would admire him for that. And his wrestling paved the way for so many of us that followed him. And you know, for me, you know, I've had, again, such a kinship with so many Calgary territory people, even to this day, like the younger generations that would come along with Natalia and TJ Wilson and Harry Smith, all good friends of mine. I got to visit the Hart House. I got to visit your house, and your mom shared a bunch of Dynamite's old things with me, and so getting to be part of that later in life, and knowing that it started from watching your dad, you know, in his era, was a really big thing for me. So, one of a kind, and left a permanent footprint on the industry and so many of us individually for so many different reasons. And myself, you know, maybe more than anybody else, like, there's so many different all-encompassing reasons why he's had an impression on me. None of them directly related to each other, but, you know, just circling my atmosphere of being in this industry. So I'm grateful to have looked up to him, and to have watched his career and known of him, and to have known you guys. So yeah, words can't really put everything into perspective, but that is my best attempt at speaking how I feel and what I think about your dad, the Dynamite Kid.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Justin Race. I'm Harley Race's son, the King, Handsome Harley Race. And first, I want to offer my condolences to Bronwyn and her mother and her sister on the passing of the Dynamite Kid, Tom Billington, 67 years ago. 7 years ago. He would have been 67 years old today. And I think it's about time that he goes in the Hall of Fame. He and Davey Boy were probably one of the most dynamic tag teams ever in wrestling. Tommy on his own was just, he was so high flying. He'd leave the top rope and he had to be 12, 14 feet in the air sometimes on his way back to the ring, doing whatever move. So I just want to wish the family, again, Happy heavenly birthday, Tom. I miss you. I remember you well. In fact, I have to tell a story. Um, I'll tell. My father wrestled Rufus R. Jones one time. Bronwyn, I don't think I've told you this story. And Rufus kicked him and he missed and kicked him in the side of the head. Moral of the story is he completely flattened the nose, my dad's nose and cheek and everything was just flat. And he got back in the dressing room, blood's coming out, and he's looking at his face all half in, half out, and he looked over at me. Hand me that pencil. So I took a pencil, up it went, and out he went. He looked at me, is it straight? I said, yes, it's straight. He said, okay, and off we went. Years and years later, the same thing happened to Tom in the ring. And he got kicked, and I mean, just like that. And he comes back in the dressing room, kind of woozy, doesn't really know where he is. He looks at, my dad looks at him in the face and sees basically the same thing that happened to him. Hey, Tom, he said, hey, kid, you want me to fix that for you? And Tom just kind of woozy, yes. Justin, hand me a pencil. So he fixed Tom's nose that way. So anyway, we have some great stories with Tom and my dad and I, and just Tom was a wonderful, wonderful man, and it's such an honor to know Bronwyn and her mother. And we hope to do a lot of things together to promote both our fathers in the coming months. I really appreciate it. You all have a nice day, and thank you so much. God bless.
Hey, Bronwyn. Blue Meanie here, coming from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A city I know your father loved. I know a city that loved the Dynamite Kid right back. I'm here to say happy heavenly birthday to the Dynamite Kid. So many great memories. I loved the Dynamite Kid. He revolutionized the wrestling business. First saw him against Tiger Mask in Madison Square Garden, and watching those folks react to him the way I reacted to him, like, what is this? Kind of like, when I first heard my first favorite guitar player, Eddie Van Halen, where did this guy come from? And why is he so good? But Dynamite was amazing. Philadelphia loved him. Philadelphia's a blue-collar town, and we recognize hard work. And he was one of us. I could see, my adult self, kicking it and hanging out with Dynamite. And we all related to him because he worked hard. In Philadelphia, we keep receipts. We want to see effort. If we're going to make an investment, to come watch you perform, we want something a little bit in return. But Dynamite always gave it 1,000% in the ring, each and every time. As I sit with a Spectrum chair behind me that probably witnessed some of your fathers, witnessed some of Dynamite Kid's greatness in the ring. But happy birthday, Dynamite. Gone way too soon. Thank you for all the great action in the ring. Thank you for all the great memories. I was fortunate enough to see you perform in person, and I'm fortunate that I get to come on here and sing your praises. So happy birthday, Dynamite. You are missed.
I can't believe that it has been 7 years since the passing of Dynamite Kid. Just a phenomenal professional wrestler that had a style that was years ahead of his time. He doesn't get the credit that I believe he deserves for how much of an influence that he's had on the professional wrestling industry. He went on to influence so many other great wrestlers that became better wrestlers because of the influence that he had on them. He's a wrestler that no doubt has influenced me since the very beginning of my career. I loved his fast-paced, in-ring, explosive style, and is very much a style that I've tried to emulate throughout my career. I remember being about 13 years old. I went to a British wrestling show known as a UK Revival with a friend that I'd met from school. And we had heard that the Dynamite Kid was going to be awarding the winner of the tournament that night with a medal. So we went searching the venue, looking all over for anyone that we could meet. We ended up downstairs next to the locker room, stood a few feet away from this guy in a wheelchair, and we didn't recognize who it was until the very end of the show when he was brought out, and sure enough he awarded the winner of the tournament, Jody Fleisch, the King of England trophy, I believe. My friend and I were gobsmacked. We couldn't believe that it was the Dynamite Kid because we hadn't seen him for years, so we still expected to see him in his glory. And it, goes on to show the sacrifice that he made to be as good as he was in the ring. It sure as hell took a toll on his body in the long run. One of the things that was most incredible about the Dynamite Kid was that he existed at a time when there were still many different styles around the globe. There was the American style, there was the British, round style at the time. There was the Japanese style was, different to that, and he exceeded at all of them. He was an absolute incredible professional wrestler, and I wish him a happy birthday on what would have been his 67th birthday. And my thoughts, prayers, and love go out to his family that no doubt miss him at this time.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Woo. Just here with a quick special birthday shout-out video to my all-time favorite in-ring performer and who I consider to be the greatest ever, and that's Dynamite Kid, Thomas Billington. You're sorely, sorely missed in the industry of wrestling and in life itself. What a hell of a talent you were. There's no reason why you shouldn't be atop everybody's Mount Rushmore. I know you're on my Mount Rushmore of wrestling. A lot of people love to throw out lists, and for some reason, Dynamite doesn't seem to be on enough lists. So one of the ways I think that we can make sure that he gets the recognition that he deserves is let's put him in the Hall of Fame. It's long overdue. It's not a real Hall of Fame if you don't have the best in it. So Dynamite Kid, Hall of Fame 2026, or any year after that. Let's just get him in. He changed the industry, he changed the game. Everything that you see on television today, one way or another, can be attributed back to Dynamite, especially the in-ring stuff. So many of the boys and the girls today owe what they're doing now to entertain everybody else. They owe it all to Dynamite. Dynamite totally changed the game. He was a talent that a lot of people had never really seen at that time. So let's get him in the Hall of Fame. Let's wish him the happiest of birthdays. You're sorely, sorely missed, like I said. And I know you're watching down and you're, probably giving a couple people a receipt up there in heaven. But Dynamite, happy birthday to you. I hope to see you in the Hall of Fame. Peace.
Hi, I'm Cameron Thompson from Ayrshire in Scotland, and I'm one of the Dynamite Kid, Thomas Billington's biggest fans, as well as a friend of the Billington family. And this year, on the 5th of December 2025, it would have been his 67th birthday. Now, obviously, he's sorely missed by his friends and his family and the wrestling community as a whole. I'm of the opinion that it deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And there is, in fact, a petition at the moment that you can sign. And I do encourage you to do that, please. To ask the WWE to consider putting Thomas Billington in the Hall of Fame, because it's sorely deserved, in my opinion. There's a film coming out, and I wish the makers and the Billington family all the luck in the world with it. I've seen the trailer, it looks absolutely incredible, and as a fan, I'm so excited to see this film when it comes out. It looks absolutely amazing, guys. Bronwyn is doing a screening in Manchester, I believe, for the love of wrestling, and do go along and check that out. Meet Bronwyn. I wish her all the luck and all the success in the world with this film, because the Dynamite Kid story deserves to be told. Now, as behind me, you can see some of my collection, some items that are rare, like the Matilda the Bulldog plush there. We've got the LJN tag team still in the box. Trading cards, autographs of the British Bulldogs, and in particular the Dynamite Kid. Now, my story is that I've got generalised anxiety disorder, and at one point I was unfortunately unable to leave my house due to this disorder. And I'm of the belief that in times of trouble, we go back to the things that we know and love, and in my case, that's always been professional wrestling. So with the advent of YouTube, you can go back and view all the matches that you've seen before, but matches that you've never seen before, rare matches that previously would have only been on tape, etc., etc. And the Dynamite Kid's work to this day is just so far ahead of its time, and just so incredible and entertaining to watch. The man was just the absolute pinnacle for me, the GOAT of wrestling, and that's my opinion. You know, so I actually got the chance to write to Thomas Billington via his brother Mark, who is my friend, and unfortunately his brother Mark has passed away as well and is absolutely sorely missed by me, I can assure you. But I wrote to, at the time, Dynamite Kid via his brother Mark, and I was fortunate insofar as to be able to tell Dynamite that how much I thought of him and his career, and what an influence that he's had on me and in helping me with my problems, with my anxiety. And because, as you can see here, Pro 2 Wrestling, I'm the commentator for Pro 2 Wrestling as a promotion in Ayrshire, Scotland, and my ring name, if you like, is Kid Thompson. I did ask permission of the Billington family to use the moniker Kid. It's obviously in the most respectful way possible, and I just want to say that I hope the Dynamite Kid gets into the WWE Hall of Fame, because it's very much deserved. I hope that the film does very, very well. And I hope that everyone takes the time to remember the Dynamite Kid on his birthday, 5th of December. He's definitely sorely missed, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to write to him while he was alive and tell him how much I thought of him. In actual fact, he kept the letter in his drawer after it was read to him. He was asked if he liked it, and he laughed and said yes, and he asked for it to be kept in his drawer, and he kept it until the end. And that was, as a fan, it made me feel so appreciated, just in that small act of doing that. So thank you very much to the Billington family. Thank you to Bronwyn and Michelle in particular. And
I like the Dynamite Kid because his energy and intensity is unmatched. It was the most intense thing back in the 80s, and you go back and watch it now and it's still unmatched. Everybody tries to be like him, but you just can't. There's only the one. The man, the master of intensity, Mr. Dynamite Kid.
こんにちは。
こんにちは。
ジャンピングボムエンジェルスのいつきです。
のりおです。
Hi, nice to meet you. So, what are the good memories of Dynamite Kid? So many. Many. Your father is a good guy. Nice. Yeah, very nice. So, 日本語でもいいんだよね。
思い出がたくさんあるよね。
そう、メモリーだね。よくバーで一緒に試合が終わって同じホテルでバーでよく
ビール飲みました。
デビー・ボイ・スミスとかね、スミスとキッドさんと飲みましたね。
で、私が雪が降る日にホテルを出るときになぜかパンプスを履いてしまい、もう転んじゃって全然立ち上がれないときにキートが助けてくれて、車まで乗せてくれて、一言、何よ、今日はもう試合しなくていいよって、バンプたくさん取ったからって言われて、なんでお前はでも靴を履いてないんだって怒られました。
あとはね、私たちは車のドライブとかね、そういうのを一緒にしようって言ってヘルプしてくれたり、もう本当にたくさんあなたのお父さんには
お世話になりました。
お世話になりました。本当にありがとうございました。まあ、亡くなられて7年、もう世界中のファンが悲しいんだと思いますが、でもメモリーはもうみんなの中に残ってると思うんで、もちろん私たちもそうです。頑張ってください。はい、バイバイ。
新日本プロレスの4代目タイガーマスクです。私は初代タイガーマスクの佐山悟先生の弟子になります。
ダイナマイトキッズさんが、亡くなられてもう早く7年も経つということでですね、その日がまた、ダイナマイトキッズさんの誕生日ということで、なんかものすごく運命的なものを感じてしまいます。ダイナマイトキッドさんが亡くなったことが日本でニュースになった時はですね、やはり日本のレスラーが本当にみんな驚いてですね、まさかという思いが、あったのが今でもはっきり覚えてます。私自身もですね、子供の頃、プロレスラーに憧れて、初代タイガーマスク、そしてダイナマイトキッドさん、ブラックタイガー、小林邦明さんというですね、この本当の、タイガーマスクをめぐる戦いの中でのこの、人物というかですね、中心人物だったこのダイナマイトキッドさん、ものすごく今でもはっきり覚えてますし、これは僕は多分生涯忘れることがないというぐらい、大好きな、方でした。やはりジュニアといえども素晴らしい体でですね、毎日全力ファイト。これはですね、本当レスラーの鏡だも言ってもおかしくないぐらいのですね、本当に素晴らしいレスラーでした。日本でもですね、今、初代タイガーマスク対誰っていう風に言えば必ずダイナマイトキッドというぐらいですね、キッドさんの影響力というのは日本で本当にものすごく大きく、またプロレス界でも本当にこの初代タイガーマスク対ダイナマイトキッドという戦いはですね、一生涯語り継がれる戦いではないかなと思っております。僕自身もですね、未だに覚えてます。もうとにかく、ダイナマイトキッドさんの